What's up, guys?
What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining the Business Project Podcast. Today, we're going over systems
And processes.
and why it's important to incorporate those in a successful business.
They are very important. If you don't have systems and processes in place, you're missing out.
That's it. So let's go.
The Business Project Podcast.
Business can be complicated,
We break it down so regular people like us
can understand and find success. I'm John Crespo, accountant and consultant.
I'm Casey Bryant, marketer and event planner,
If you run a business,
or want to run a business.
welcome to the show.
What's up?
We're back.
We're back. We got good information for you guys today. Systems and processes are my favorite.
Yes.
I feel like they just make your life so much easier. It's such a pain
So
to get
needed,
them set
though.
up. But once you get them set up, man, it's like just whoo.
Yeah, you need that in the successful operation of a business for sure. So if y'all been following along, we've had some great episodes. A couple of weeks ago, we even spoke about how to recession-proof your business. So if you haven't seen that episode, I highly recommend going back because we're going through a time of uncertainty. So it's good to know how to navigate that and get some tips and ideas on how to navigate that that uncertainty, time of uncertainty that we're in. And also we went into just the accounting piece and setting up bank accounts and getting the licenses and all that stuff that's necessary for really just the foundation of the business. And now,
And I feel like we made it
systems.
not boring.
Yeah, we do our best to
Accounting can
try
be
to make it not boring.
Yeah. Just give you the basics.
Yes, and if there's a way that you would like us to make it even more not boring, let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know. We try to be
Dance.
fun.
We'll be counting
Yeah.
numbers and dancing.
We could do the electric slide here or something.
Y'all don't want to see me dance.
It'll turn into a comedy.
Yeah.
It'll turn into a comedy for both of us, for sure. For sure. But
So this week,
yeah.
Let's go ahead and get going into the systems and the processes. You want to start out with systems?
Yeah, let's define what these things are, right? So systems can be programs, tools, or just a set of rules that are put into place that so that people know how to do what they have to do to make your business run efficiently. So systems are for efficiency is a way I like to think about it.
Yeah, I feel like it's a way to automate
Yes.
things and to make it to where it's done the same every time. I guess
Right.
that's kind of more processes. Processes and systems go in together really well because both of those just make it easier to create consistency within your business and make sure that what you're doing is like the people that are buying from you, whether it be a product or service, they're getting the same thing every time. Whether that be how you handle your customer service, whether that be how you make your donuts, whether that be how you open your store in the morning or close your store at night. All of that revolve around having good systems and processes put in place.
Yeah, I think that processes roll into systems, right? Because if you set up a process, let's talk about that. You were talking about opening and closing a store, but you have to have a detailed process on how to do it, right? You have to make sure that you're touching all your bases. You make sure security of the employees that are opening the stores in place. Make sure that you're unsetting the alarm. Make sure you're turning on all the lights. Make sure all the refrigerators, if it's a restaurant, are on. So, there's a checklist of items that you go through on a normal day-to-day process to run your store or service. That is your process, right? This is our process for opening the store. This is our process for closing the store. And you document that. You want to document that so that if you hire somebody or if you have to have someone filling in for someone that normally works a shift, they'll know exactly what to do. They could just pick it up and run with it. It just makes operating your business that much easier.
Yeah, so I feel like processes are the things, the habits, the regular routines
habits.
that you put into place. And the systems are what you use to fulfill those processes.
Yeah.
Right? So systems make the processes easier or give the process some sort of stability.
Right. Yeah. I did a talk at one of your mingles. I think it was right after COVID, the one we had at the Old Glory. And that conversation was around setting up systems. It was a whole conversation around systems. Those of you that are in our area, you have to go check out the mingles. They're amazing because the topics of conversation are awesome. Those of you that are not, just
You're missing
listen
out.
in. Yeah, you're missing out. Come visit. But the systems, what I like to think about when it comes to systems is, you mentioned automation, right? It's finding out what you do on a day-to-day that's kind of redundant, right? That seems like it's repetitious. And then you can kind of like automate the repetition into a system. So you have to utilize maybe a program to create the automation or something that creates that automation that helps, that then takes over that particular process so that you don't have to keep doing it yourself, makes your life easier. Efficiency.
And I think we kind of touched on this during our recession video podcast that we did a couple weeks ago, because a lot of times this can help save you money by finding systems that can help you be more efficient, make your job easier, and save you time. And we're in the world of technology. There are so many systems out there. And I think that might be actually a reason why people get kind of frozen with the systems, is because maybe there are too many options. And so we want to give you guys, we'll talk about processes first, and then at the end of this podcast, we'll give you guys some systems that we use and some ideas for systems that you can use within your business that might help you be successful and take some of that stress out of, there's so many things, what do we do?
Right, exactly.
Right.
How do I handle it all? So,
Yeah.
processes. Let's talk about processes. Let's
do
break
it.
that down. So where do you want to start with that?
So I think processes, as I had mentioned earlier, is that the reason that we're implementing processes for the most part is we're looking for a way to create consistency within our business. So there are certain things that you do within your business, and you guys know your business, and if you're just starting, this is a great opportunity and a great tip. I feel like something that I wish I knew when I was starting my business. If you create a process and you write it down, that can help you in so many ways. The first thing is, like I mentioned, it creates consistency so that no matter who's doing it, or if you're, having a bad day, or if you're having a good day or whatever, it is always done exactly the same way. So it creates consistency. Number two, it helps you delegate, because as business owners, we wear 5,000 hats. And the idea is to, as you're growing your business, to take off one hat at a time. And if you create processes and good habits and you have those in writing and you're doing it the same every time, then you can now figure out the best way to do it. Because like if you're doing it the same way every time, then you can kind of tweak it. Okay, we do it this way. This is something that we can tweak. You tweak a little bit of things at a time. Then once you have it to where you think that it's a good process, then you can hand it over to somebody else. And so if you're writing that down and keeping track of it, and if you're intentional, which is a word that we use very often about your processes, then it makes it very easy to delegate.
Very good. Very good. I like the when I think of processes, I think of a playbook. So when on the businesses that I help when it comes to like the strategic consulting side of what I do, I always sit down and say, well, let's look at your operation. If you're not here, can it run? Can your team pick it up and run with it? And if they can't, why not? And the biggest reason is because we don't document our processes, right? In documenting the processes, what you're doing is you're creating a playbook for your team that anyone can pick up and run with it so that your business can run without you being there all the time. The goal is to create your business so that you don't have to be there in it 24/7. You can rely on your team if you have one, right? The goal is to grow your business, to have a team, but you can then rely on your team to do what they're supposed to do to run the business properly, because you have those processes in place documented in this playbook. And I call it the playbook. It's just like, like a coach, where you're coaching the team, you have the playbook, so everybody knows what their position requires them to do. If somebody has to go into that position, they pick up the playbook, they can read the play, and they know exactly what they have to do.
I love that. That's
right?
great.
Yeah. That's where I think of process.
Somebody gets injured, and they can just pick up the playbook and know exactly where to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's in the Bible, it's have your plan, make it plain, right? So that someone can pick it up and run with it, right? You got to keep it simple. And if you can document everything down into your playbook so that any team member in your business can pick it up and continue moving the business forward and operating the way it's supposed to be run, then you've created good processes.
Yeah, and another thing, so a couple things on this really quick. The first thing is, don't feel like you have to do this all right now, right away. I think this is another thing that can be intimidating, is you're like, I have all of these things within my business, because you can create processes for anything. You can create it for how you follow up with leads. You can create it for how you hire. You can create it for how you motivate your employees, setting up monthly meetings with them. You can create processes for when an email comes in. I mean, anything, so many things, right? And so I think the idea is to just pick one thing at a time. So what are you spending most of your time on, and how can we focus on this, and how can we write it down, create processes? Because the second thing I was going to say about this is that if you do that, another advantage is that it takes the think out of it. I don't remember what famous person it is, but there's some famous person that wakes up every day and they put the same clothes on. They have like 7 of the same exact shirt and 7 of the same exact pants.
That's got to be the Facebook guy, Zuckerberg, I think it is. He wears the same outfit every day.
He's always wearing the same thing. But the cool thing about that is it takes the think out of, that's like one less thing that you have to worry about when you wake up. And as business owners, we're wearing so many hats and we're doing so many things that the more you can take that decision making out of your day, the less exhausted you're going to be at the end of the day, and more you have to focus on the things that actually need focused on, right? Decision making in the moment. So if you are creating these processes and writing them down, it helps not exhaust your brain.
For sure. It's so I like what you were saying with that. As you're starting out your business, don't overwhelm yourself thinking I should have processes already for everything. Because as you're operating your business, you're going to go through those steps that require your business to run, and you're going to learn what's working and what's not. So as you're going through that, you just want to write it down. You want to write down or document in some way, shape, or form what you've gone through to complete something, and to complete it the right way, right? Because you're going to go through your mistakes, and you're going to document your mistake so that you don't do that same mistake, and then you're going to end up with a process, the right, efficient process on how to complete something, right? But you got to start somewhere. So when you start your business, when you're just starting out, as you're going through it, and as you're learning your clients, as you're learning your products, as you're learning your community, as you want to document what the experience is, and how you were able to complete a particular particular process. You want to document how you were able to complete a particular process at a time. Yeah,
and don't feel like you have it in stone, just like everything else I feel like that we've talked about with business. It's just a starting point, like you had said, and your business is going to be transforming and changing. Hopefully, you don't want to be static. And so these processes, I would recommend putting them, in a Word doc or somewhere. And we'll talk about some systems. That's where the system comes in, is figuring out where to keep track of all of these things. But you can put them somewhere digitally to where they're easily able to be edited, and think about, how can we improve this, and changing it all along the line. So let's give an example of a couple of processes. I think this might be helpful for some people.
Yes.
What's a process that you use in your business?
So a process I use in my business is onboarding, right? So let's just say prospecting. I'll start with prospecting. If someone finds my business online, and there's some systems already in place here, but this is a process after systems were already in place. But you can kind of like picture what it would look like before they were in place. Someone calls me or they find my business online. My first thing is to have a initial conversation, right? I pick up the phone call. So my process, my phone rings in my office, pick it up, right?
That's a good first step.
For real.
Yes.
Like simple. It can't get any more simple than that. And don't let it ring more than 3 times. You know, if the phone is ringing, you don't let it ring more than 3 times. I pick it up and I say, "Thank you for calling CFD Services. This is John speaking. How may I help you?"
So you have a script.
You have a script, right? Very simple. And then you start to have a conversation because I gather as much information up front of who that caller is. So I want the name, I want a phone number, I want an email, or best method of contact for them and reason for their call, right? And then if I can handle the call right there on the spot, then I handle the call. Or if I have to revisit and schedule an appointment to have them come in, then I revisit, schedule an appointment to have them come in. But I write, or in my computer, we're taking notes on how the call went and the purpose for the call and what the next step is if there is one after that call, right? Once that's done, I will share that information with whoever is going to lead the next step, right? So whether it's an account manager per se that's going to set that client up for the service that they're looking for, or in a next meeting that, let's just say they want to have another in-person kind of meeting. We figure out what that is. So you're going through these particular steps, and this is on a prospect call, right? So that's an example of a process. Now I've taken those steps and I've written them down in my playbook, so that when I'm training a new person that's helping me out, or we're going over training in my team, we're going over those processes so that everyone knows, and it becomes a habit. It becomes habit so that we don't have to think about it when somebody calls.
And then you can take that and say, hey, when somebody calls, this is the script that we use and this is the response that we get. Is there anything that we can be saying or additional information that we can be getting to make this process a little bit more effective and get something else that we need? So if you have it written down and if you have a place to start, it's easier to make adjustments to that. Mm-hmm.
Love it. So true.
One process that we use within my business is we meet as a team 2 days a week. So our company is very remote. It's most of what we do is online, but I think that it's really important that we all connect as a team and spend some time together, and even if it's just coming into the office and working. So Monday and Thursday we have a specific amount of hours dedicated for the team to come in and do work together, and this is time for them to brainstorm and ask questions, and sometimes they even get silly and talk about other stuff that's not related to business, but it's just a great time for us to get together, and it helps make our company stronger and more cohesive. And so that is a process that we have put into place. We have our set hours that we come in and set things that we do, and that has been very helpful. So a process can be something, like taking a prospect call from beginning to end, but it can also be something like, how do you encourage and build your team? That's not so stringent. I mean, I don't have that written down in a specific place, but it's something that we've put into place that we do every week that is helpful for
it's your habit. I would like to hear what you all out there in the universe have as far as processes for your businesses. If you have some established businesses, what kind of processes do you have in place that helps your business run the way it's supposed to run every day?
Yeah, there should be things that are like automatic that you do if you are an established business. If you have a brick and mortar and you're opening, you should have processes in place. This is a checklist for all the things that we need to do to open. These are all the things that we need to do to close. Everybody should be gathering leads from social media, from your website, from phone calls. So you should already, whether you have them written down on how you handle them or not, you should already have some processes in place for that. And it's just a matter of taking what you're doing and writing it down.
I love that.
You have a process.
And you know what? It brings to mind some of my background. I have a banking background, right? I spent a lot of years in the banking industry. And in the bank, when I was running some branches, we had an opening procedure. Everyone had to sign off on, whoever's opening had to sign off on the documented checklist that it needed to be completed for opening. We had a closing procedure. We had an audit procedure when it was time to audit a cash drawer, and there were step-by-step tasks that had to be completed for that particular job, right? So that was how the bank is able to manage every branch that they have, because there's tasks lists which go into procedures, right? Or processes. There's task lists that everyone has to sign off on as they're completing the particular job to make that thing happen. So it was like, oh wow, yeah. I just remembered everything that we did in the banking world. There was a documented task list that had to be followed to make sure it was done right.
And the reason was so that they could delegate it, and make it consistent.
Exactly.
Right? Those are the two reasons that you create processes.
Yep. I hope that helped.
Yes.
It helped me.
And again,
I'm going to go back and review my stuff now. Make sure I have documented tasks.
This is probably something that you should put into your monthly tasks, which again, create a process for how you get organized, and make sure that you work this into your schedule. You should have some time worked into your schedule every month to work on your business.
Yeah.
And this should be one of the things that you do is look at your systems, look at your processes. How can we do this better? So we told you guys that we were going to give you some ideas for systems.
Yes, some good ones.
Let me just kind of explain how the systems and the processes work together. I know that we did already, but we had talked about, John had talked about, taking the prospects that are coming in. And so you probably have, that is a process that you've created, right? And then you probably have systems put in place to help you with those processes. So what are some systems that you use? Yeah.
So I run a consulting office that also does bookkeeping, payroll, and taxes. So my system is specific to my industry. We use a system called TaxDome. They're not paying us for this. They should. But I use that, and it handles my CRM, it handles my onboarding, it handles all my checklists. So that everything lives in TaxDome, and it helps automate our workflow. But that's what the purpose of a system is to automate workflows so that you're not manually having to do everything yourself. So it frees up time for you to grow your business. So that's one of the systems that we use, and it's specific to my industry.
And there are probably a bunch of tools that are specific to your industry too. And I'll use this time also to say that not every system is good for every business. So there might even be one that's specific to your industry, and you give it a shot, you get it all set up, and it doesn't work.
Right.
Don't feel like just because you pay for a system, or just because it's specific to you, or just because you've heard that it's a great system, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you. And don't be afraid to stop something that's not working. You don't just because you start something doesn't mean that you have to stick with it.
Right. That's not the first system that we've used either. So we've gone through a couple, and I'm not married to one either. If there's one, if I'm out and about, let's say I go to an event and or somewhere, and I see something that might benefit my business more than what I'm currently using, I'm open to try it out, because the goal is to operate so that you're providing the best service for your customers or clients while making your life easier.
Yeah, and a really important thing too is to try to find systems that talk with each other, that communicate with each other, because that always makes things a lot easier, you know. And I'll go into a list in a minute. I don't want to give it away, but some systems that we use within our company is, you know, ours is big, again, digital, and so we use ConvertKit for our email. There's lots of email programs out there. That there's MailChimp, I think, is one of the biggest one, but finding a email service was a really big deal for us, because now we can automate, instead of sending out manual emails to all of the new clients that we get in, and to anybody that you know, asks about a specific thing. We just plug their information into our ConvertKit, and we have a series of emails that are set up, and it sends out that series of emails. So that also creates consistency and adds value to what we're doing. And we only do it once, and we set it up and we let it run itself. And we obviously change things as time goes, but for the most part, like, it's set up and it's in the background, and we don't even have to think about it.
Let's talk about really quick why it was important for you to incorporate that system into your operation, right? Otherwise, you would have to send those emails out manually. And so you would have to put it on your calendar. Oh, today we have to send this email out, and go in there and type it out yourself, send it out to everyone. And then the 2 days or a week, I have to send this email out. So that system was able to automate that whole process for you, which is a huge time saver.
Yeah.
Which is one of the importance of why you want to find a good system for your industry.
The advantage to it also is that it adds, I keep saying adds value, because that to me is such an important thing, is figuring out how to save time, save money, and add value to the services that you offer. So the cool thing about that versus just sending them out in our email is that we can track them too. We can see if they open them. We can add different tags to different customers or people that contact us. So like if they say they're interested in the business project, we add that tag into that, and then anything that goes out for the business project automatically goes out to the people that are tagged that. And so it just creates so much more additional things that we can do versus just writing a simple email.
Think of how many spreadsheets you would need. If
Oh, there would be so many to make that happen.
It'd be nuts.
Right.
Just imagine.
Yes, so many. And yeah, so we'll talk about things that you need systems for as a business owner. Almost every business owner should use systems for these things. And then we'll give you some examples of some things that we use. And again, just because it works for us doesn't mean that it's going to work for you.
Yes, do your research.
Do your research. Try a couple of things and find some things that work for you. So accounting is a big one.
Yeah.
That is a number one. You should have an accounting system put in place that automatically connects to your bank account.
For sure.
And
that would be, if you don't have an accounting system, just trying to manage your books manually using Excel. If you don't know bookkeeping or accounting, like if you don't know it and you're trying to do it yourself on Excel, it's not easy. Or some people don't even use Excel. Some people use notebooks, or your bank statement, and you annotate your bank statement every month, but then you got to go through the whole thing at the end of the year. Having an accounting system takes all of that work off your shoulders and automates it, communicates with your bank statements. It tracks all your purchases, all your revenue, and it just, it's a time saver. It's a time saver, adds value, and it gives you so much time back for sure.
do you recommend some specific accounting? We've kind of talked about this in previous podcasts, but I use Wave Apps and I really like it. I think it's waveapps.com. It's just simple. You can do invoicing and things on there too. What other systems?
I think it's industry. Your particular industry can determine the best bookkeeping system. I think Wave is good for what you do, in the marketing world and in the e-commerce world as well. Wave is perfect for that. Also Xero is another one. It's an up-and-comer that's making some noise in that industry.
You said there was a new one called
Patriot I incorporate into my practice because it's great for startups. In the retail and service industry, it's great for that because it's very easy to use, customer friendly, and does everything that the big guy QuickBooks does. It's just you know what you're dealing with, and then you, of course, QuickBooks is the OG, I like to say, of the industry. They've been around the longest and probably had the largest reach. Everyone knows or has heard of QuickBooks.
It integrates with a lot of other things, which is nice.
Yeah, because they've been around for so long, they have those relationships that can integrate with different apps and different other systems that can then help communicate to running the business. So it's great for that. But look at your business and determine the complexity of your business and the need of your business to help figure out what best accounting system is for you. If you're starting out, you don't have a lot of transactions, it's a startup, Patriot's great. QuickBooks has a lot of functionality to it for more complex businesses to take advantage of. And then you have Wave and Zero for if you're in the e-commerce or marketing world, digital world. That's amazing for those industries as well. But look at your industry.
Another thing that you should have a system for is your communication. So your CRM system, some sort of CRM system. And I had mentioned that we use ConvertKit for our emails, but we also have another system called Insightly that we use to keep track of every single person that we know and every single business owner. And this is, we can put notes in there. We can create tasks. We don't really use the tasks. We don't use Insightly to its full capacity because we have another system that I'm going to talk about that we have that in place for. But it is almost like our address book for every person that we know. So like if I go to a business or one of my team members goes to a business, they can pull up our Insightly. They can search that business. They can see what the owner's name is. They can see what their kids' names are, what their dog's name is, and it just makes that communication and that relationship building so much stronger because we keep up with all of that.
Yeah. What does CRM stand for?
Good question. Customer Relationship Management?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep. Yep. And that is having a CRM system in place for your business. I think is so important today. You have to stay in communication with your clients and customers because we're such a fickle people, and there's so much information being thrown at us that if you're not finding a way to stay in communication with us, then we forget about you. And CRM systems help in that world.
There are a lot of CRM systems out there. Insightly, like I mentioned, is the one that we use. But if you just look up CRM system, there's one that is just escaping me. The name of it. What is it?
There's a HubSpot. Which is pretty popular right now.
Yeah.
Something Constant Contact.
Constant Contact. That's the one I was trying to think of. Yeah, Constant Contact is a good one. But this is a lot of when John and I are out talking to businesses too, we even did a video, the 5 things you can do to get more customers for $0. I feel like businesses are always the 2 things they want, right? They want more customers or more money. And you can utilize a CRM system to help cultivate those relationships. So a lot of people will get more customers if you get more phone calls or more emails or more people messaging you on social media. If you don't have a system in place to cultivate those relationships and keep track of them, then what's the point, right? You're missing out on a lot of opportunity.
Yeah. Deepening relationships. That's huge. And that's what CRM systems help with. Like getting that repeat business. You don't just want a one-time customer or client. You want repeat business. And the CRM system helps with that. For
sure. Another system that you probably need if you are a company, a business, and if you're a new business, this is something that you need to put in place is some sort of way to communicate or manage anybody that's working with your business. So whether it be you have independent contractors that you work with, whether you have employees that you work with, whether you guys should all have, like we had mentioned before, an accountant or somebody that handles your insurance, and then a business attorney. Those are the 3 relationships that we said that you needed to have. You need to have a system in place for keeping up with the communication with all of those things.
Yes, and that's just so that the flow of communication can be quality, right? And people know how to communicate internally, and your partners too. So having a system in place for that, and also where you can upload documentation, upload expectations, all that stuff. You have a pretty good system in place for your business, right?
For our team.
Yeah.
Yes, we use Trello.
Trello.
And we use Trello for everything. Trello might be a little bit overwhelming for people when they first look at it, because it's literally, that's where we put everything. We have checklists on there for when we get new customers. We are supposed to do things monthly for our customers, and so each month for each customer, there's each month with the things that we're supposed to do, and then those things are assigned to people on our team. They can check off that they're done. So this is how we keep up with all of our featured businesses and the people that are paying us. It's also how we keep up with any people that contact us that are waiting for communication. Also the businesses that we haven't visited for a while that we need to visit. I mean, our Trello board it's huge. We have several 10 or 15 boards, and each board is for something specific. So like we have one for social media with all the tags that we use. We have one as a team board that we keep notes for all of our staff meetings, so that anybody can go back, look at the agenda, look at anything that we talked about, and then we create action items off of that, which we also put into Trello. We have a calendar in there that has a list of all of our posts and when they're supposed to go out. That is an absolutely amazing tool.
Oh yeah, that is huge.
It is.
And what's good about that is everyone knows what they are supposed to do and what their individual tasks are, and then you as the owner can see what's being completed and what's not based on timeline. You got date stamps, you got everything. So that's a truly good way to run a business efficiently. You don't have to be there to make sure things are being done. You have the system in place that helps you track if something's being done or not.
The good thing about it too is it helps with accountability, and it's not just me that has to hold everybody accountable. It's all right there in one place, and everybody on the team can see. If somebody didn't do their part, then typically I don't even have to say anything, because somebody else from the team will be like, hey, so-and-so, like, did you do this or not? Because it's not checked off. Let's get it done,
Right.
So it helps the team synergy a lot more too. It takes a lot of that off of my plate, which is so nice.
Yeah. Definitely having that internal system is important. As a business owner, you want to make sure that you can rely on your people to do their part, and having that system has the accountability factor in it that makes sure that that's happening.
And again, that's Trello. By the way, they don't pay us for this. We don't get paid by anybody. We're a new podcast.
We're working there towards. We're working towards
Not
that.
yet. But it's Trello, TRELLO.com. It's amazing. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
There's other systems out there as well. Again, do some research into your industry and see what is kind of like right for your business and your industry. But some of these are really good to check out.
Another thing that you will need a system for in your business is a way to keep up with photos and files and videos.
Ooh.
I know
especially
as a company,
for you.
That is big.
Yeah.
Yes. And even if you're not specifically in the social media industry like we are, you still need to have professional photos done for your website. You need to have photos and videos done for social media and for brochures and for, pictures around your office and things like that. And so finding a good way to keep up with all of those is very, very important. We use SmugMug. I love SmugMug to keep up with all of our photos and our videos. I don't think that's what it's made for. I think it's made
really?
for photographers that want to sell their pictures.
Oh, wow.
But it's worked really well for
Yeah.
us.
You know what I use?
Dropbox.
Yeah.
That's another good
Or
one.
what's the Gmail one? The one that Google has.
Oh, like Google Docs.
Google Drive. Google Drive.
Yeah, Google's a good one.
Google Drive, Dropbox, OneBox. That's other good ways that you can create folders in for your photos and stuff like that. It's not taking up the memory of your computer. Yeah. Stuff works.
So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. We are going on almost 40 minutes, so we should probably close it up. But
good.
Yeah, there are lots of ways that you can implement systems into your business. There's lots of systems out there that are available. Make sure that you do the research. post in the comments of these videos if you're watching on YouTube, or join one of our if you watch any of our free videos online, we have the 5 things you can do to get customers for $0, and then we have the 28 steps to launch your business. It's a checklist and a video. It's amazing. Both of those are free. If you go into any of those and watch them, then you get added to the community. And the community is a brand new thing, and we're building it up, and it's a great opportunity for you to go in and ask questions. And we're there to answer any questions, and other people are there as well.
It's a support group for business.
It's
we
a
need
system
it. It's
put in
a
place to help
system,
you.
exactly. Thebusinessproject.com is where it all lives. Visit it. And as a matter of fact, you know what? Share your industry and share some of the systems and processes that you have for your business, because it might be something that someone that's in the same industry can take advantage of. Share the information with us in the comments, in the community, on thebusinessproject.com. You know, we want this to be interactive. We can learn from you as well.
We can all rise together. You don't have to step on anybody to get to the top.
100%.
There's enough for everybody.
Oh, for sure.
Yes. All right. We love you guys. We hope that this was encouraging for you and helpful for you. Please, please, please share this podcast. Give us a review, and tell your friends, all your other business owners, about how awesome it is and helpful.
Yes. Help get the word out there.
We need you. We
Come
can't
on.
do it without you. All right. We will catch you next week. What are we talking about next week?
Oh, next
I'm
week?
going to put you on the spot.
Oh, my God. Now I got to go into my phone and find out. Let's see here. Next
Open
week.
up the system that we've
Ooh.
created to figure out what podcast we're doing next week.
Create contracts. Oh, that's...
Contracts.
You're going to want to know that. And risk management.
Yeah.
Risk management.
Important.
I'm going to do some research on this one, because I'm going to have some good stuff to talk about.
So we will catch you next week. Peace out.
Peace.